Friend! Oh, new friend! Oh, friend! Please be my friend! Oh, friend!
What's up, Cheap Shot Nation? I am your host, Lightning Luke Edwards, and we are going to take you through everything that happened on the quarter-final show of the Mae Young Classic. It took place on the 17th of October 2018, and we have a fantastic show for you. So if you do not have a network subscription, go and get a network subscription. You will be able to watch all of the previous Mae Young Classics from the second season, and also the finals, which will take place at Evolution, which is an all women's pay-per-view taking place on the 28th of October 2018. We have 4 fantastic matches lined up for you today, and we are going to take you through every single bit of action that happened during the show. And so, moving swiftly on to the first match, it features Lacey Lane from the USA, and she is going against the legend, the end boss, Meiko Satomura from Japan. The match starts up with the usual lock-up, and Meiko wins, showing her experience edge and her slight strength edge over Lacey Lane. This is a block on the kick that Meiko tries to hit Lane with, and Meiko goes straight into a headlock from there. So lots of feeling out on this one, lots of trying to get the edge over their opponent. Showing the strength edge, like I've said, Meiko Satomura. Lane then uses her gymnastics background, her background in cheerleading, to avoid Meiko's attacks. Meiko kicks Lane several times, showing that strong style that she has from Japan, and Lane retaliates with her own set of kicks, which I'm sure caught Meiko off guard in this case. First near fall against the run of play goes to Lacey Lane. Meiko then kicks out and drops a double knee to Lacey Lane's midsection. Lane comes back with a few moves of her own after the double knees from Meiko Satomura, leading to a back thrust kick from Meiko Satomura, gaining the edge once again. And Meiko is on top for most of this match and leads the way against Lacey Lane in this one, showing that experience edge which I've mentioned before. That she goes straight into an armbar, short arm scissors. Lane forces the break by getting to the bottom rope, and Meiko has to break the armbar. Lacey then shows her speed, ducks a few strikes and hits a few strikes of her own. Knees, followed by a body press from the second rope, a springboard body press from the second rope, into a near fall. The match ends against the run of the match when Meiko Satomura surprises Lacey Lane with a quick Death Valley driver into a pin, and your winner, moving on to the semi-finals, is Meiko Satomura, the end boss. Lacey Lane showed everything that she could in this one, just came up short against Meiko Satomura, who has the experience edge, but I'm excited to see what Lacey Lane will bring to the table in NXT moving forward. Very impressive from Lacey Lane to even get this far. She's only been wrestling for a year, so that just shows everything about this lady that we've come to know over the last couple of weeks and the last couple of rounds in the Mae Young Classic 2018. The second match features another lady from Japan in Io Shirai, and she is going against Deonna Purrazzo from the USA. There's a lock-up to begin this match. Lots of technical wrestling, a feeling out process, trying to get the upper hand, lots of arm locks, lots of reversals to get started. Purrazzo shows her strength edge on Io Shirai by hitting a shoulder block after some rope running, and Perozo then gets kicked by a handspring, drop kick by Io Shirai, and Perozo heads to the outside. This is followed up very quickly by a suicide dive from Io Shirai, hits the button right on the mark, and Perozo hits hard on the ramp outside. Throws back in, gets a near fall, and she's really working the back of Perozo at this point to gain that edge. So she's really working the back and the midsection of Diana Perozo, and after a near fall, Shirai comes out back on top. The near fall was by Perozo at this point, and Perozo dazing Io Shirai with her own set of chops and kicks. But Perozo just cannot get going. Io Shirai keeps getting back on top of Perozo. Perozo then hits a hip toss and a Russian leg sweep into another near fall. Shirai kicks out. After the Russian leg sweep from Perozo, she goes straight into the Fujiwara armbar, which has won her the last 2 matches in the Mae Young Classic. Io Shirai counters that into a crossface. Perozo then kicks out, gets out, counters the crossface into a near fall. Shirai then goes straight back into the crossface after Perozo tries the Fujiwara armbar again. She is very close to tapping at this point. She rolls that over into a pinfall, a combination, near fall, and then hits the crossface once again. Io Shirai then hits the 619 on Diana Perozo, followed by a missile drop kick. She then goes for the Asai moonsault, the move that has won her the last 2 matches in the Mae Young Classic. Diana Perozo counters this into 3 German suplexes. She pushes her off the top rope. Shirai hits her face on the top turnbuckle. 3 German suplexes later from Perozo, we get a near fall, and Shirai then kicks out. She then goes into another Fujiwara armbar. This is countered once again into the crippler crossface, and at this point Shirai is very much on top. Shirai hits the double knees into the corner after the crossface is broken. The Asai moonsault is hit the second time, and your winner is Io Shirai, who goes on to the second round of the semi-final, of the Mae Young Classic. And excellent match, exemplary. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. We're getting down to the final 4, and we will, I'm sure, see a lot of fantastic wrestling from these ladies moving on to the semi-finals. And so we move on to the third match, which features the only lady left from the UK in Tegan Knox from Wales, and she is going against Rhea Ripley, the Australian wrecking machine known as Rhea Ripley. Complete attitude change from Rhea Ripley from last year. It's worked for her in this tournament, and I see big things for her in the future. Tegan Knox, bundle of energy, the shiniest wizard, as we keep getting told during the show, and Tegan has a bright future for NXT as well, hopefully on NXT UK, which is airing, I think it aired last night actually, on the same night as this, which I haven't got around to watching yet, but I will do a review of the first show and let you know what I think of it. But anyway, on to the Mae Young Classic. Rhea Ripley, in a complete show of heelishness, refuses the handshake from Tegan Knox. This gets Knox fired up, and in turn she hits a drop kick. Rhea Ripley goes to the outside, Tegan Knox then tries for the suicide dive, putting it all on the line at the very start of this match. It was to be her downfall. Unfortunately, she tweaked her knee, her uninjured knee, it should be noted, her left knee. She tweaked as she went outside. The doctors and the trainers and the referee did check on her at this point. Knox said she was okay to go, and Rhea Ripley just doesn't let up at this point. Target on that left knee of Tegan Knox. Rhea Ripley then shows her strength edge by getting back on top of Tegan Knox and chucking her around a little bit. Tegan does mount a small comeback, but unfortunately Ripley is methodical about the destruction of Tegan Knox in this one. Ripley hits a drop kick which does finish Tegan Knox off. The referee calls a finish to the match. Tegan Knox can no longer continue, and Rhea Ripley is your winner, moving on to the semi-finals. And unfortunately Tegan Knox is then carried out to a standing ovation from the NXT crowd, the crowd at Full Sail University, for the Mae Young Classic. Unfortunate finish to this match. It's the third time we've had a short match for the third straight week. For the third match, it's been very, very short. This obviously we wish Tegan Knox a speedy recovery and hope that her knee gets better, but she has hurt her knee, kept her out of the tournament. We kept getting told this as well last year, and yeah, real shame for Tegan Knox in this one, but we hope you get better very, very soon from everybody at Cheap Shot Entertainment. Moving on to the semi-finals is Rhea Ripley from Australia. And on to your main event of the evening. It is the fourth match of the night. It is Mia Yim from the USA representing South Korea, who has picked up a hand injury, picked it up during the first round of the Mae Young Classic, versus Toni Storm, who's hoping to bring Toni time to the Mae Young Classic this year. 2018 should be Toni's year. She made it all the way to the semi-finals last year, losing to Shayna Baszler. We all know how well she's done in the past year. She is from Australia. She is Toni Storm. Sure, you can see her on NXT UK as well. Yeah, this one's a real good match. Starts off with a standard lock-up between the two ladies, trying to feel out and trying to get the upper hand on the other. Yim starts out on top and would remain that way, apart from a few small comebacks, some hard kicks. Toni Storm comes back with a big boot after some rope running, some hard strikes in combo, followed by a snap suplex from Toni Storm, getting her on top of Mia Yim at this point. Couple of European uppercuts, tries a double underhook. This is countered with a kick to Toni Storm's elbow, possibly setting her up for some kind of finishing move. There's a near fall by Yim as Toni nurses that elbow. Goes then into the rest hold known as the sleeper, made famous of course by Rowdy Roddy Piper. She's not letting up on Storm at this point. She's not letting get any breathers in, not having any rest at all. Goes straight into a near fall and into a surfboard submission. Knees firmly planted into Toni Storm's back, but can't get the proper grip that is required to make Toni Storm tap out due to the injury on her hand. Again, picked up in the first round of the Mae Young Classic. Yim is in control. She's isolating Storm's back and using her striking ability to stay on top with lots of short, sharp kicks, lots of strong style kicks in the Mae Young Classic so far. This is countered with a kick to Yim's injured hand by Tony Storm, and this gets Tony Storm back on top of the match. There is then a headbutt straight away, hand control and then headbutt. It is Mia Yim's right hand that is injured due to chopping the post in the first round. Tony Storm and Mia Yim both then trade strikes together, and Storm gets on top with a snap German suplex and a running butt face into the corner. Strikes again traded. Yim counters the Tiger Driver or the Storm Zero, and with a side suplex pin of her own. Near fall by Mia Yim. Yim powerbombs Tony Storm, another near fall there, and everything is happening all at once here with Tony Storm then countering Soul Food by Mia Yim, which is her finishing move, and this is countered into a finishing move called the Storm Zero, which is a Tiger Driver, after Storm gets control of Yim's hand. Tony Storm is your winner. She is moving on to the semi-finals of the Mae Young Classic, and we have a fantastic set of matches for the semi-finals. And so your semi-final matches are looking like this. We have Tony Storm versus Maiko Satomura, promising to be the matchup of the tournament, at least so far anyway, with Maiko Satomura known as the end boss. She's done a fantastic job of getting to the finals, semi-finals. Very, very impressive. Tony Storm is always impressive, very much a crowd favourite. The crowd is going to be absolutely split in this one. I'm really looking forward to that match, and I would say it will be the match of the semi-finals. That's not to take anything away from the other match in the semi-finals, which is Rhea Ripley, again from Australia, 2 Australians, 2 Japanese ladies in the semi-finals, none from the USA, none from the UK. Very notable this year, and she is going against Io Shirai. Fantastic high flyer versus a strong competitor in Rhea Ripley. So 2 contrasting styles, very much will lead to another fantastic match. So with these 2 matches, you'll probably get a 25-minute time limit, probably a 30-minute time limit for both, and they will be given plenty of time to showcase what they can do. And with your semi-finals now decided, we look forward to the 28th, which is Evolution. The final will take place on that pay-per-view, the all-women's pay-per-view, and we will be watching that live. I'll be watching that with Woody. It's the day after Dead and Breakfast, which is going to be intense. I'm also going to try and do a video on that. It's basically a horror movie night, 5 horror movies over the course of the night, and if you get all the way through it, you get breakfast at the end. So yes, I plan on doing some videos of that as well. So yeah, we'll look forward to that as well, and if you like the video, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. You can follow us on Twitter, on Facebook and Instagram at Cheap Shot Entertainment. We'll see you again next week to cover the semi-finals of the Mae Young Classic, and I have been your host, Lightning Luke Edwards. You've been watching Cheap Shot Entertainment, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.